Guys.
Okay. Hi, once again, guys. This is the Toth Monra podcast, and my specific duty here today is just to sort of act as the moderator so that Toth Monra doesn't have to do all the talking. And of course, since it's still his podcast, he can talk when he wants to, but I'm just going to kind of handle the administrative functions as we go along and, attempt to just make things a little bit easier for him. And I appreciate everybody who's watching. I hope we'll get some more folks, and this is something that I think is worth supporting, hands down. So we have a few other guests in the chat as well. If you guys would say hello, Mr. Mojo, right?
Yep, that's me.
And who else do we have here?
Pinky. He's also from
Binky.
Retribution.
Okay. And
Think
it's all.
be a little late. He was dealing with last minute stuff.
That's all right. Uh, we're here, so that's what matters. But I appreciate it, guys. And both of you guys are with Retribution. Is that right?
Yes, I'm a new player. Like I joined like 3 to 4 months ago, but I've been playing a lot. Have a lot of respect for the game, respect for the devs and the people that play it. I can bring like a new player's perspective because I think we all want the game to grow, right? So maybe
True.
I can give that perspective to you guys.
Well,
Yeah,
go ahead.
yeah, I'm old school. I was part of. I played live back in the day. I guess that good 14 years ago, and I guess I'm back returning, relearning the ways as well. But yeah, getting back into the mix of things. So I guess you can call me a returning player as well.
Well, that's good. The the new player or returning player perspective is one that I think from time to time does get kind of overlooked, and so I will be happy to hear what you guys have to say. So to get things started, I I think what we'll do here, Toth Monra did type me out a list of questions, a list of subjects that he wanted to bring up. So what we will do first is I will go ahead and introduce the first topic. When we've gone through the 3 questions for that particular topic, I will then go to you guys one time, and you can bring up the issues that you want, and then we'll go back to the list for the second round, and just sort of keep running like that. So we recently had the Twilight event, and for full disclosure, I have to announce to everyone that just in case someone may not know, my son Techno was actually on the team. He had a lot to do with the Twilight event, so I cannot help but be biased and say it was the greatest thing ever. but yeah, he's he's still in high school for anybody who may not be aware.
Oh shit!
Mm.
But yeah, he just started his senior year. I swear, man. Um, that's tough for me, man. He's in his senior year, but anyway. Um, but the Twilight event, my quick thought on it is, it took me, I don't know, it took me a couple days to get to figure out all the sort of intricacies of it. My first thought was it was supposed to run for 10 days. I didn't think that was going to be long enough. I made the prediction on my stream that they would expand that, and they did. But overall, I thought it was a very sort of worthwhile event. It wasn't, if you're going to talk about just the events, the live events, I still think the top of the list is the event where you actually got to go to the opposing city and run around doing quests in the opposing city, whatever event that was named. But I did like the event, the sort of rings of power kind of theme that you could make. So the first question is, what did you guys think? The Rings of Power event. You know how it was put together, how it may have affected the trade or whatever. And Mr. Mojo, you want to go first, please?
Yeah, sure. I really enjoyed it. I think we could all see on the numbers of people playing at the same time. I think like most people enjoyed it as well. They like the grinds. For people like already had maxed out characters, it was something new to do, some little grinding. It's an MMO, so people like to grind and get new gear, get stronger and stuff like that. I appreciate it. I think like the stronger guilds got the most of it, but I don't really see that as an issue. I think like having strong guilds on both sides and like, for example, retribution, like we got like a bunch of rings that we're just gonna give out for new players. Is really something else. Like we can advertise in the look for group things to get people to get involved. And I'm sure other guilds are doing the same thing. I think that's good. So I don't really see any downside to the event. It was a really good event.
Inky, your thoughts?
I second that. I think it was very cool. It took us, I think starting out, it really like made people like get into it slowly because they're used to how other events are. So people was like, oh, all right, whatever, I'm gonna get into it. And good thing they did extend the length a couple of times, but it was an amazing change of pace. I like the way that they set up everything, especially in the cities where they placed all the. I can only speak from order side, but how they placed the quests, um, how the PQs worked. Everything that you needed was in order, so you wasn't confused on where you was going to turn in the quest, and even the bags, or like while you're purchasing, it was easy to understand after a little bit what you was doing. You know what I'm saying? Okay, I need to use this tool to buy this or to break this down like this. um I think the farm was a little bit. The farm was cool, but it got real old real fast. I agree with Mojo when he said that the more so geared guilds, you know, um, can really just sit in the zone, and it really made us. I remember hearing other players just say that they just so tired of, they don't want to be in Alpha Land anymore. But the design and the idea of the event was amazing. The colors, I love the gear colors that they brought back out of there. They're super dope. And I was thinking about this on a theory craft that even when it comes to the rings, even if you didn't get the rarest ring, the subsequent rings, like if you was to check the blues and even the purples, they're still good. If you really look at it, they're still good. So even if you didn't get that highest ring was pretty good. Auction house was banging too. It was pretty cool. A lot of people that was broke made tons of cash off of it. Um, I think it
Yeah,
was I think it was a cool event.
I think we have to
I
see like the meta effect from the rings. I don't see them like as too OP, but again, I'm a new player. I've heard from more experienced players just saying like, "Oh, these rings are like a little bit bullshit," and like that they can be so strong. I would like to have like more perspective on that, but
Language,
yeah.
please.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, if
well,
like
my
one of the sweaty players could join in, give their opinions, I think the devs should listen to them. I'm sure like they have like testers are talking about that.
what my sense of that, of the point you bring up is uh, the rings, the end result rings that you could get. Um, I thought they were good. I did think they fell just a little bit below my expectation. Like when you start the event, and like Pinky was talking about, with the grinding and multiple characters makes it easier because you can trade stuff around and all that. But when you finally got to the end result, I went with one of the crit rings. I made one of the, the melee crit chance, and the end result was a plus 1%, which I thought was, my expectation would be that it was at least plus 2%, and then you could get a plus 3% talisman, right? If you made the talisman to slot it, but then the talisman only lasts for 30 days.
Yeah.
So after which you're back to just a 1%. Now, I suppose I would categorize that what I just said. That's just sort of it's not a deal breaker. I mean, I still think it was a good event. I had fun. Once I figured it out, I was glad it was going on. But it was just, a little okay. I mean, it was just a little bit of a drawback when the actual end result. But as a long-term player, as somebody who's been, before I bring Toth in for his thoughts, as a long-term player, somebody's been on the server for a long time, I think it was great that you could make these rings and replace something like, if you wanted to, the two-piece Genesis that you might be using
Yeah.
as with something new and different. That's that I thought was really kind of cool.
Yeah, I appreciate that a lot.
I agree. It did take a lot of grinding to get those. It took some work. Um, it would have been harder. It would have been definitely harder for a casual player, and it definitely did work out that we actually have a guild to actually help each other out. Because I tell you, man, getting getting
Yeah,
iron and onyx was hard, was super hard. And I agree with the 1% crit. Like I thought it should have been at least maybe at the least two. You know,
yeah,
I totally agree with you on that. But for the fun and just the event, I think live events, from my experience of playing a plethora of MMOs like endless, I think the live event is supposed to be like a good change of pace from your run of the mill, and I think that this live event did that. It gave you something to really focus on, like not like your usual. I got to do CNT or do your usual grind. It was a nice change of pace, a good change of pace for people. Um, I think it was a good start, a great job, a great change to crafting. I thought it was well put together, and you could tell a lot of effort and a lot of theory craft and a lot of work went into it. And I still appreciate it at the end of the day.
I agree. Toth, you got something you want to add in, or?
As far as the event goes, I liked it. I mean, I didn't bother making any of the rings, but I did send quite a bit of supplies to the guilders, both Mojo and Pinky. No, because I was given supplies pretty heavy. The only thing I would have said that maybe would have made it more interesting is had they opened it up to where the materials could be farmed in any zone to prevent some of the negative effect that went on, specifically with intentionally wanting to essentially grief a whole zone, because
Yeah, I agree with that.
it did lead to people throwing fights just to keep the grind going. So other than that it was it was good. I would like to see that crafting system put in to encourage more working together, more interaction. The server needs interaction, not more of isolation.
Well, that's certainly true. Before we move on, I want to add one thing about the drop rate of. I thought the drop rate. I'm looking for the right word here as far as the items. When you got into a fight, I thought it was I thought it was pretty good. I thought the drop rate was heavy enough. I mean, my backpack kept filling up, with stuff. And so I thought the drop rate on the items, the basic items that you needed, to try to get started, was certainly what's the word? I'm struggling here. What adequate? There you go. Adequate. Yeah, it was certainly adequate. What do you guys think?
I think it might have been a little too easy to get drops because I know of kills that have like an insane amount of rings just sitting on their banks right now.
I, I disagree because I like well let's talk well if we're talking about drops I like how he was able to like get the tools the way the tool system worked that you got to go farm and do that and that was cool. um it depends on how you want to like I think for maybe certain classes it will be harder for you harder to get rings than others because if you ain't getting this it's like if you're not getting no kills or nothing like that especially depending on the time of day. If you ain't getting no kills, then you ain't getting no boxes. And when it comes to those boxes, man, it's like you don't even know like what you're going to get. Some of them are 1-to-1. I do like the fact that when you do use the tool to break them down, that you can get a rare. Those chances are good. But I think if you was to open up some of these boxes, I wish that sometimes it will give you more than just one. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it will give you like, two or three or something like that to spruce it up a little bit. I think that's the reason why the grind was you was definitely getting boxes, but it was when you was just getting that one just that one little piece, man, and you looking for a specific one, it's it was clear it was clear from like day one which ore was the most valuable of them all. Like,
Yeah,
you
you
know.
make a good point. Yeah. Um, there was at the moment I can't remember the name of it, but it was one of the amethyst that I don't think I ever broke one out from using the tools. I eventually just had to go, you know, buy the two or three of them, whatever it was I needed. Um, but for the first time through of a live event like that, uh, I give it an overall positive and was really happy to, I mean, overall, I was really happy to see it. I think it was a good deal, and I guess what it may come around again about the same time next year. I would think.
Yeah, that's pretty good. And if they ever
Good.
came up with like new events, they just like keep it RVR focused and make sure like what's it, what I'm trying to say brings people out to the lakes and make people like interact with each other, be it from an action house or make sure you have oh shit like I really want this ring but I'm not getting enough pot droppers. I need to get on a guild. I need to get a group going so I can farm them effectively. I think that's a positive thing because this is a team game. At the end of the
Yeah,
day, I know there are some loners, especially like witch hunters, and I know a couple of like solo slayers out there. But overall, this is a team game. We should like encourage team play.
And I agree with Toph too about having it spread out throughout the zones too. That I think that'll make it better because I'm trying to tell you, being stuck in Eatang, oh man. But yeah.
Yeah,
Eatane is kind of that place can get boring quick. That's for sure. Um, okay, before we move on to the second topic, um, Mr. Mojo, I'll start with you. Is there an issue you would like to bring up, please?
yeah, I have like two issues. I'm gonna just point out the first one. I think that everybody that watched the devs' latest video about the future of the game, I think at least this is my opinion. I think most of our will agree is that the justifications that they gave out for all the nerfs and buffs, all the class changes they are proposing, it's just based around technical issues. So it would be really nice if the devs could come out and like explain to us more stuff around the meta. Like, oh, we feel like this class is overused. Feel like this single spell is like too strong, and give just give justifications around the actual gameplay. And if they are considering technical issues to balance, are they going to consider FPS drops? Because I know it's something that everybody faces. The game has a memory leak issue. You have to keep relogging and deleting your cache to keep playing. And I think that favors some classes, favors like some spells, favors some factions. In my opinion, I think Destro is a little bit more favored to that. I can come back to that later. But yeah, just one more information from the devs. It's basically not a debate. It's just a question direct to the devs.
I can't argue with that. Um, I guess in regard to the point you just made, I would repeat something that I said yesterday when I was streaming the video, which I did. I did kind of a running commentary on the video, and my one major drawback with the video itself was that it was a video. For whatever reason, and it could be my mistake, I fully admit that, but for whatever reason, I thought the event yesterday was going to be live, that people could interact. And when it wasn't, I was a little bit disappointed on that, on the basis alone that, it's if you have a product and which people are indulging in, are consuming, and in that sense, we, the player base, right, we are the consumers of the product that the devs are putting out. Now, we're not paying for it in that classical sense, but yet it's still a product that we are consuming. And if you want to engender, loyalty in the consumer base that you have, direct interaction is always preferable to just putting out a notification. Now, not that notifications are bad, because, like you say, it is at least interaction, right? But my only point about that is that I think that, actual interaction in real time, I think yields the best results. So that would be my one suggestion in regard to the point you just made.
Yep, I agree with that. I wish the devs did make a live event and were a bit more active on forums. I know it can get like a bit trolly and like people just complaining and stuff. But like with good moderation and good answers and devs presence, I think like the best people that start you know talking more in the forums, being more active in the forums, and we could get like a productive discussion going on.
Toth, you want to comment on that, or?
Oh, go ahead, Toph. My bad. He said Toph. I thought he said me.
No,
Go ahead,
no,
Toph.
no. I'm good. This is about hearing what you guys and what community has to say.
Okay. Uh, Pinky, your turn.
I agree with Mojo. I agree with you as well. I thought it was going to be a live thing as well. Um, Vision. I think what we need, and I think what we're all really, I think all the players are really hungry for is just what is the. We understand it's going to be a several step process. We understand the first process is just to get us to ground one, so you can actually start to build up. But I think what we're really looking for is what is the vision? Like, what is the vision of, like, okay, what are you trying to make this character to be? What is the vision of this? What is the end product going to be? And nobody knows, you know. And I watched the video. Um, I like the presentation of the video. It was professional, but it was still lacking the vision of, like, I understand now. He in his covering of different things, like, this is broken, or we was trying to make it work with this, and it's just not going to work like that. I respect that, and I'm glad that he actually shared that insight with us. But we need to know what the end game vision is going to be. What is the vision of each class and what you're trying to do, what you're going to be able to bring back, what you're not going to be able to bring back. You know, that's what I'm looking forward to and whatnot. So yeah, that's what I'm looking for. That's what I need.
Small break. Hold up, because ad break just ran. So
Right.
otherwise they won't be able to hear you.
I'm sorry, you have a commercial running?
Yeah. It's I
Oh,
can't turn it off.
It's automatic. Okay.
I just don't want people to miss what you guys are saying.
Perspective.
Got about a minute 30.
You said a minute 30.
Yeah.
Oh, all right, cool. Cool.
when we come back, I have a question about the video for all of you, please.
All right.
Yeah, no problem. Problem at all.
Thir 30 seconds.
All right.
And it's over. You're back on the air.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for coming in again. We're back from the commercial break. And once again, this is the Toth Monra podcast. And I am just the moderator today, just to help Toth out a little bit so that he doesn't have to do all the talking. And before the break, we were discussing the dev video that was Max's video that was released yesterday. And in context of that, I just wanted to. I have a question. I just kind of want to throw out a toss-up question worth 100 points. But anyway, one thing that caught my attention when I was watching the video yesterday was the change about the city siege. And as I understood it, what they're looking at and what they're planning to do is if, let's say, you have 3 city sieges active, and city siege A, Destro is dominating. City siege B, Order is dominating. City siege 3, it's kind of an even fight. So after stage 1, instance 3 would remain the same with the same players, but in A and B, the Destro team and the Order team that were dominating would then be switched into the same instance, and they would go head to head for segment 2. That's how I saw what he was saying. Um, do you, is that right? I mean, first
Yeah,
question I guess is that right?
that's how I understood it as well.
Okay, okay. Well, I think then my real question is I think that's a great idea. I do. I think that's a great idea, and I just wondered what you guys thought.
I'm gonna go in the opposite direction. I think it's a terrible idea because there's a very hardcore segment of the game, like this really sweaty players that they really like city and they like facing each other. So like they will communicate with each other. Oh, you guys are going Destro today? Okay, we're gonna make another team and hope we fight you guys. And if they get like a fight and then like maybe like first day it goes really one-sided, they usually want to keep going. At least that's how I feel. Like they just don't face each other, right? And if you're gonna swap around the teams, then those guys won't have an incentive to play anymore.
Yeah, I
It's
agree.
it's
Go ahead, Toph.
it the way it's designed is basically to get the high caliber players to fight each other instead of it being pre-made curb stomps pugs. So it's basically gonna make sure that those pre-mades fight each other.
Well, then it can't be based around results. It has to be based around like maybe renown rank. Like you add up all the renown ranks on both teams and see which guys are the premates based on that. Because like 2 cities ago, we had like a really great fight against NGE, and it was our 12 men against NGE's 12 men, and they had like some other people there. It was a full city, and like our fights were literally taking like 50 minutes to end. But they won. They were winning. Like at the end of the first engagement, they were like ahead by 150 kills or something. We were enjoying it. We were glad we're having that fight, even if we were losing it. And on this new system, the way it's proposed, like we were gonna miss that on the second stage and third stage because we're gonna get swapped out. We wanted to keep going, even if we're losing, even if the scoreboard, you know, that's how I feel it. I don't think like kills and results should be the basis for the swaps. Should be like renown or something else.
I would say results. I would say results in a factor of time. If you're going to do that, well, first thing. Well, I wanted that's one thing I wanted to really want to talk about is queuing. Probably we could talk about that later. I think a pre-made it should automatically put a pre-made against a pre-made because I'm with Mojo here. Like we once you get to that level, we love those fights. We love those good close fights, and I think that just because somebody just because you lose that round, um, you shouldn't be swapped out. I think it has to do with how fast you lost a round. If you're gonna make that quick adjustment, I think it should do with how fast you lost a round. Like if you losing if you're like I guess you can do like if this mob if the let's say you got the Giants rolling around and you know that's probably second stage. But just for instance, if one side just drop the boss in like under a certain amount of time, then that this is or the other side didn't even get a chance to this this time this team is definitely like stronger than this one. Then you can probably swap that out. But I think the onus to fix this issue should be like a queuing. First off, just pre-mades go against pre-mades. Like if we got war bands that go in queue, put those war bands against other war bands because that's what they're looking to do. And then put the pugs, fill in with the. I like the idea of backfilling. Um,
Yeah,
I love that idea of backfilling because it's a lot of people that don't even get in there and they've been waiting there the whole time, and then dudes leave after getting washed after one wipe. But it's gonna be some people that's out there that wanted to join in there, and it's people that still want to stay because they still want the bags. So if they want the bags, backfill it in just fill it in with the people that want to actually be there, and then it's a win-win. So those, I think queuing needs to be corrected. It needs to be set in order 4-2-2-2, and that would definitely teach the new players how to. I'm gonna talk about that later, but yeah, I think that just like what I said earlier, I think that pre-mates, it needs to be prioritized that pre-mates play against pre-mates, and yeah.
Yeah, I agree with two of Pinky's points there. I think the idea should be based on time. If you're gonna reshuffle the scenarios, if like time is gonna be a factor, I think that's a good one. Because when like two strong teams go against each other, like sometimes you lose a lot of players in a fight, but it's not a wipe. You're just forcing a recover, right? It's like we died, but we didn't wipe, have enough time to res our guys, and the fight's literally the same fight. Literally went on for like 15 minutes, 20 minutes. But the scoreboard doesn't reflect that because they were having more kills, and G was like beating our ass, but not wiping us, just forcing recoveries. So that was a bit good. And yeah, that I forgot the term that's called, but the idea to if you stay on queue, you can just pop back in city if someone leaves. So like, cause if two people leave in the city, pretty much over. So having the system where like people that didn't get the first pop can still get inside, that's pretty good. I like it.
Well, I agree with both of you on the backfilling. Uh, and I failed to mention that when I posed the question, but both of you are right. The backfilling idea is an excellent portion of that. I suppose my original comment is in my original reaction to when Max proposed that in the video was that most of my experiences are based on the fact that I play alone most of the time. I'm a solo player at heart, and so the vast majority of cities I go into, I queue solo, and it does hurt when you get into you lose the first fight, and then two, three, four, five, six guys will bail,
Yeah,
and
that sucks.
then you're just kind of you're just kind of stuck. Some of the but so the backfilling would I think would seriously help address that. Based on what you guys have said, I may reevaluate my original thought. I just I looked at it from the point of, okay, you have the first fight and it's a steamroll. How do we how do we address that so that the entire city instance isn't just one steamroll right after the other? And so um, by changing the teams, that did seem, and again, that does seem to me to be a sort of a valid approach on the surface, but
It is
it'll
valid,
have
but
to.
you can't only, it is valid, but you can only consider the scoreboard. There has to be other factors in. Could be renown, could be the time, how long the battles took to end. It's just a scoreboard, like the sweaty players that are facing each other and want to keep facing each other, they're gonna get hit, and there's no point like hurting the most hardcore, no player base.
Yeah.
I see what
Okay.
you said. Oh, go ahead.
Go
Go ahead.
ahead.
My bad.
No, I was going to ask Toth if he had something, but if you've got, please go. If you got a comment, go ahead.
Yeah, I like you can do. Yeah, doing it just solely based off of scoreboard will be hard. Um, the issue that we have in this game, but it's a beautiful thing, is that we have a ton of new players. I think player development is is uh is lacking. It's truly lacking in this game, and I think this is one of those games that you need to learn by experience. So getting crushed and getting wiped a little bit, yeah, it's happened. It is reality. And that's the other cool, great factor about this game. But it's like instead of people quitting, how can we get them? How can we encourage them to just be like, this is where you messed up at?
I have
And
some ideas about that because I'm a new player and I don't think it involves city. If we want to change the topic, we can go ahead.
Well, let me ask Toth if he has anything on this particular issue, and then as soon as he's finished, Mojo, we'll do that. We'll bring up the point you were just.
No,
So Toth,
no.
no, okay, all right. Um, okay, then we'll go ahead and move on. Mr. Mojo, go ahead and bring up the point you were just sort of hinting at.
All right, so the only reason why I kept playing is because I had a lot of fun with organized play. Doesn't have to be like sweaty organized play. It's just one time I joined the Retribution's Overflow, and it was I forgot who it was leading. I think it was Nutcrusher. He was on the Overflow at the time, and I kept playing like for 2 weeks and just doing my own thing, being a solo player. Then I logged on Discord and like, oh shit, there's an organization to this. There's calls to be made. This guy is really making 24 people like run around for with the same objectives. That's so cool. And I think that's what's lacking in the game sometimes. It's the only reason why I made my Slayer, so I can become a pug leader and bring people to Discord and make sure like if there's a new guy in the game or something like that, I'm not gonna kick him. I'll take like level 16 on my warband because I think that's the most attractive aspect of the game for a new guy. Once you get jaded, like then you're like only interested in really sweaty stuff. That's fine. But for new people, it's that interaction. It's going on Discord, getting 24 people doing the same thing, playing together, hearing calls, seeing how synergies work. And if there's something the devs or the community can do to praise pug leaders or reward pug leaders or teach people how to be pug leaders, I think that's going to be really good. That's going to help retain players.
On the other hand, what I'm talking about is just people need to learn how to play their class.
Well, you
Um,
learn that in a warband, in a Discord,
n-
in my opinion.
nah, you don't learn in the warband. I'm talking about just in general. That's how to play as a team. I'm talking about it's dudes that really don't like understand how to play their class, like really how to play, like how to play a Slayer, or and playing a Slayer solo is different than playing a Slayer in a warband. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
That's a
You
fair point.
know, playing in a six man, like you know, playing like you can't just queue for SCs. Like you're gonna playing in a six man is way different than playing in a war band. You see what I'm saying? But the point of the matter is that it's characters that don't understand what the benefit of shatter enchantment or shatter a blessing. You know what I'm saying? They don't understand the mechanics of AMs. Like I see it's a lot of new AM players, and they think that all they're supposed to do is just stand there and spam group heal. They don't even know how to use they don't know how to use the mechanic at all. So then the rest of the SC is lacking. I'm talking about that type of character development. I do think that pug leaders are necessary, but not everybody is a leader. And not everybody want to be a war band leader at that. Some people like six mans and some people like 12s. But I think just the overall of people understanding like what their class is supposed to do and understanding their abilities and having the space, like we don't have the ability, other games have the ability to duel. We don't have the ability to duel like that, you know. So a lot of times I played other, for me to develop to be better at fighting like PvP or RVR, I would fight against my friend that was way better than me, and we will work on an issue that I had together, not just hitting a dummy. Yeah, you can work on your rotation on the dummy, but this Warhammer, man. Anything can happen. You don't know what the heck is going to happen. But the development of a player is it's very lacking. To understanding how to play, and your abilities is lacking as well. And I think that needs to be worked on so that when other people play with you, you know what I'm saying, they'll be like, oh, that's a good player. So that's the type of development I'm talking about.
I agree with that.
I
Think like the devs could make a push for it, like make updated video guides, make something for the not so social new player can like look at and get better at the game. Because yeah, like at the moment, the only way like you get better is if you go out and like start talking to people. So like big shout out to Saigon from Nightmare. Like the dude takes the time to go on Discord with you. He does with a lot of people who stay on Discord with you for 2 hours explaining the one class you want to learn. Black Matt from Tup as well. There's a lot of Nightmare guys and Tup guys that do that, and some guys from Retribution as well. But yeah, there is a little barrier there, right? Like you have to like discover these guys and be social, And some people don't really like that. Some people just prefer videos. So like if the devs or the community or someone from the community like to work on that, I think it's gonna be a great thing for retaining players as well.
I had a couple of points, please. I think, well, I agree with I think that scenarios are the best place when you talk about people learning how to play their class. And you're right, Peaky. There is a substantial, or at least a noticeable percentage of people in the game right now that clearly don't understand all the mechanics of the particular class that they're out there trying to play. And it's just my opinion that one of the best formats to go out and learn how to play in a group is to do scenarios. I promoted scenarios ever since I came to Return of Reckoning, and I just think that they're fun first and foremost. They have a very definitive beginning, middle, and end. They don't drag on forever like a city might, but it's just a great place to get into a group, see how group mechanics work, get into a fight, see how you can best, contribute to the fight. And I wish, I wish more people played scenarios on a more substantial basis, right? Because I do think it's a good place to learn, exactly like you were talking about, to learn how to play the class. Um, we got a couple. We will continue here, but a few people have come in actually to the chat, so I just want to recognize, because that's Toth Monitor would always do that. Toth Monitor would always recognize. Soul Solace has come in, and he talks about the Archmage Chamois mechanic is pointless when you're healing. Okay, I have an Archmage. I've never played a Chamois because Chamois are small, green, and ugly. So I've never played one. Archmages are high elves, so but Ravasar's here. Any class is different as solo compared to Warband, not just Slayer. That's true. But Todd pointed out that we were just using that as an example. And For Anonymous is here as well. So I just wanted to recognize the fact that people are posting in chat. Okay, and as far as video content, I agree also that video content is a good way to get information out. Because you're right, some people uh, do like to watch videos. And when somebody does put out a Warhammer video, I hope that they get the response and feedback that that you would think logically would follow. And I've been doing videos. I've since my first video about Warhammer went up in 2016, and when it comes to scenarios, I did 24 videos on scenarios alone. There were individual guides for each individual scenario. Now that's been a few years. And some of those are dated because the mechanics have changed. And I've thought about starting that process up again. The issue I run into at the moment as to whether or not to invest the time, and this is what I'm asking you guys about, the issue as to whether or not to invest the time to make sort of the how-to videos like that again, is the player base today is not the same size as it was back when I did that series of videos. And I'm just not sure what kind of response there would actually be. So I guess I'm asking for your, thoughts on that.
I'm gonna answer you on this one. Treat it the same way I do as the quest guys that do them and be done with it. Don't do it with the expecting to get an answer out of it. The guides I've done so far lots of people have used them. Do they necessarily tell me that, hey, it's been a big help? No. Do I expect anything out of it? No. I did it because I could. Leave it at that. If we can get more people willing to do stuff, we may get more people in the game in the long run. Gotta start somewhere. Can't hinge it on, well, what if?
Yeah, I
Can
agree
I?
with that. I think the
Yeah.
videos have to be there. It would be nice if there was like a organized effort to make like a little advertising for the game. One thing that I think this game should have, you guys know that trailer from Eve, like it's called This Is Eve. It's just like clips from the game, and the music just comes, like real life comes from people that were playing at the time. I think because that's the most attractive thing, in my opinion, about the game. It's like getting 24 people organized, making plans, making calls, doing that thing. I think that there's like this is Warhammer kind of style of video. I think that would be great. I know like some guilds do post videos, but it's mostly like internal jokes or like little no little I can't say the word because I'm on stream. I don't know, many not shouting out to like their enemies or frenemies or things like that. They make just a video for the new player, a video for someone that don't know, like, oh, you're gonna make a video make fun of this guy. I don't know who that guy is, so like I don't care about this video. Just make like a trailer for it. There was like a push for advertising in this game. I think it could only help, right? Can't hurt it.
Getting back to what you was talking about, make the problem. See, we make. I love sometimes joining tier one and stuff like that, and I had an experience. There is a lot of new players. There's a lot. We have, so I would tell you to answer your question, yes, make those videos. The problem is that people don't know where those videos are. I think it's not that the videos aren't useful. It's access and knowing that the videos exist.
That's
So I
true.
think maybe in the game, like especially like I like the new game tutorial, but dudes, like I'm with you with SCs, and I think SCs is the best place for people to learn how to play. But the thing is that also in SCs, dudes don't know how to change parties. They don't know what to click on. So we'll be talking about like change party, or can we get, like, you might get an SC, you have three tanks and two healers and in one party, and then the rest of the DPS in another, in the another party, but they don't know how to change parties to balance it out. We're losing because the groups are messed up. You see what I'm saying? Like something to help them see, oh, click this tab to do this. Um, a little general over being a tank. Tank's most important thing is guarding, and the guard is used like this. You use it like this, and little things like that. And I think like throughout the day, maybe it's not spamming, but you'll have that tutorial, have like a for new players, if you want to, you could do an advertisement just saying, maybe like an advice channel, like if you need more, if you want to learn how to make tallies, if you want to learn how to be better in SCs, just have like a little link there for the YouTube video that you made, and have it built into the game, so that those people that are new, because I run into new players that don't even know how to put a tally in, but they're playing against dudes in tier one. They got tallies and stuff. And I just gave a dude some gold and some tallies, because he was like, "Man, I'm not strong enough to be out there in the lakes." And you're in tier one. What do you mean you're not strong enough to be in the lakes? But he doesn't know where to buy his gear from. He doesn't know how to put tallies in. It's all accessible, but I was thinking about, I started making a video that's like that. But the thing is that it's marketing or promotion of that video so that they have access for those people that need it. And they say, man, I would watch it if they knew that it exists or where to get it to. So I would
Good.
say, if you already made that video, good, you made that video, but make it something in the game so that they have access, they can click on it to actually utilize that video.
I
That
agree
that
100%.
that that much. This much I can answer. That's not really a doable option right now, closest thing is just put it to the wiki, and like what I've done with the quest guides,
Like, can't you use chat?
link it to your Twitch channel or whatever, and then just as you see people in chat asking, direct them there.
Can't like a GM start like a spam on chat
No,
like every
no,
hour you
they
get a
won't
little
do.
like
They won't do.
advertisement?
They won't do it.
I think they should reconsider. I can give like
They
Dota's example.
won't. Telling you.
That's fine. Um, I'm just gonna
Okay.
make my points in case they want to rethink that policy of theirs. I can give Dota as an example. There's a really big Dota streamer that was like, this is the guy you go to. You gotta go watch his videos if you want to start to learn the game. It's called Purge. He's a big channel and everything. Most of the players knew about him, but new players didn't. And once Dota created like the in-game tutorial, I saw like a lot of positive response from the community, from new players. Like it's a very basic tutorial. Like if you're no player, you're gonna look at it and think, "Oh, this is like way too basic. Doesn't help anybody." But it does help. It does help the new players.
Mhm.
So yeah, and the main difference is it was accessible from inside the game, like Pinky's saying. So they just make an official Return of Reckoning YouTube channel, and they're gonna have like basics of your class, how to make talisman, where to buy new gear, how to do like basics of how to war report, stuff like that, how to join a warband. I don't know, just the really basic stuff. Just I don't know, every 2 hours you just with a little messaging on advice saying, go check out our official YouTube channel so you can learn how to play. That's it. I think
Cool.
that's a good idea.
Yeah.
All right, I'm tempted to commit here because I've been toying with the idea lately. It's been a while since I've made a pure Warhammer video, and I'm not going to discuss why, but I used to release one a week for a long time, if not more. But uh, I'm tempted to go ahead and make another one along the lines of what both of you are suggesting, which is some of the basic, a basic tutorial, I suppose. And it's been a while, in my knowledge, it's been a while since somebody's done that. Because I remember when I first started, back again in 2016, 2017, when I was playing, and to do the epic quest, someone had done videos on the epic quest for the epic weapons, which were far more useful in those days, I think, than they are right now. Uh, but it was very helpful to be able to have a video to go to and see. Okay, you start at this guy right here with this name, fake the quest, and then you go right. It was just very useful stuff. And I agree with Pinky. There are guys out there. I see people rank 4 in the tier 4 scenarios, rank 40, right, who are in the scenarios and aren't using potions.
Mhm.
And my reaction to that is my reaction to that. Now, this point I am going to make, and but my reaction to that is not okay. That person's stupid. That's not what I think. That person's stupid. That person's a loser. He needs to get out of the game. That's not what I think. What I think is, okay, the guy just doesn't know, and
Yeah,
that's it. The guy just doesn't know, and somebody should point out, where the potions are, how you can get them, the crafting, the crafting system or whatever. And I think there's a certain percentage of the player base, especially in the new in the new player base, that they're afraid to ask questions
Mhm.
and some
because a
people
lot of
just
times
don't like it.
they ask a question in advice chat or something, and the answer they get is, well,
Sometimes
since
it's
we're
just
in,
wrong.
yeah,
I don't see a lot of toxicity in this game, honestly. Only like in region chat and like fights going bad, and some people start bickering a little bit. But I advise usually I like a positive environment. It's not misguided sometimes. Like some people like have an opinion about a class that it's just like It's wrong, plain out wrong. But they're trying to help. That's how they view the game. They, nobody's like getting beat down for asking questions. I think the game in general is like very positive. There is like old blood, people that they know each other for a long time, and like stuff happens, and like they don't like each other right now at the moment. But for new guys, like in general, I think it's a pretty positive environment.
Yeah, I agree. The advice chat helped me out a lot of times. The advice channel was dope, and it's very rarely that it's toxic. And people really do pay attention and do help out a lot. I got a template. I got a dope template for you, Carson, man. What you can do with your YouTube videos, make them shorts. Um, don't even make a 10-minute long video. Just make a short video, probably 30 seconds to a minute, and just have it be just a bunch of shorts. And if the devs ain't going to do it, you can make your own template and make your own template announcement and throw it into advice chat and give it to certain people and other people and just be like, if you would like to, you know, be better in SC chat, just like you got people that want to do the little gold switcheroo thing, whatever. I don't know if it's a part of the game or not. I don't know. But just like people looking for group and stuff like that, if you need help, because the thing is that new players don't know, like when you're new, like it has to do with the type of person that you're dealing with. Some people that are new to certain things don't know how to, like, I had to find out last week how to finally type in tier 4 chat. Like I couldn't figure out, like I've been playing this game leading freaking war bands more than a couple of times by now, and I didn't even know how to type in freaking tier 4 chat. You know what I'm saying? So until I asked one of my boys, and he was like, "Yeah, man, it's just /T4." So, you know, I think if you make your videos, promote your videos and advice, and just be like, and just put it in there. If the devs or, you know, if they can't put a bot or something to do it automatically or something, then I think that you can do it. And maybe it's kind of hard. Yeah, just put it in advice and see how that will work, and make a video very short. So how to change, like how to be better in SC, um, little small little things like that. Same thing with the tallies and stuff. It will work out well. I
But
think it will be fruitful. I think.
the last,
Oh, go ahead. My bad.
well, I was going to say the most recent uh, Warhammer, strictly Warhammer video I made was at the beginning of the live event with the Rings of Power live event. I did a video with Techno came in and was talking about the live event and some of the tricks and how it was going to work and stuff like that.
Mm.
It got 262 views in a very short amount of time, which for the server I thought was fine, but it was just an informational guide to the Rings of Power live event. And and I've been toying with the idea, man, because you guys, both of y'all are right. I mean, it's you talk about, you see little things in game that uh, make you wonder or make you question whether or not an individual person may not be as aware on how to play a class or how to use this or that ability. And it's just something that in a positive manner, I think does need to be addressed. Okay, you're going to have to forgive me for a moment. I have to turn my mic off. I have to cough. So if one of you will cover for me just for a minute here.
Every time I have to ask a tank to guard me or guard someone in the party, I just die a little bit inside. Come on. It shouldn't be too hard to figure that out, right? You gotta guard
Right,
somebody. I
right.
think the little bit harder part is like if you're a tank, not really looking for targets. A lot of the time you're just following the people that you guarded, and then like learning how to punt, learning how to challenge. That's a little bit, a little bit more complex. Not really, but, just a little bit more. So like 90-second videos about that. Just guard your dude. If your dude is attacking someone, look for that guy's tank and punt him away. Challenge blobs. That's it. That's like pretty good start. You're already gonna be like very effective tank.
Hmm. Agree. I agree. And
Okay, go ahead.
now I was just saying on Toph's point too. put something in advice that points to the wiki. I think Toss point, you know, whatever the devs or whoever the GMs are going to do, what they're not going to do. Because I use the wiki a lot. I stay on the wiki, so having the links to those videos on the wiki would be dope too. Zarbax did dope videos. Evil did a lot of he did a couple good videos as well. Very very good intuitive videos. It's more than a couple of videos that's out there already, and I think maybe just like what Tall says, putting them on a wiki and yeah, making a slot for those videos on the wiki, and even promoting, having like a promotion of the wiki in the advice, just maybe like once an hour or something, that like something like that. Or
Something you guys should understand. Anyone can go on the wiki and add information to it. Again, part of what I've been doing with the guides I make is I simply link them to hot commands in my chat and then turn around and put them on the wiki so they're easy to find. I don't know that the devs can put anything into where it would auto broadcast in the advice channel. Yeah, that may be a good idea, but for the moment, in this interest of helping the community, the player base, or we, the player base, can step up and start taking those steps. Lead by example.
example,
That's
I
fair.
agree. Yeah,
But the
that is
thing
very
about a
fair.
player engagement is that it's temporary. Like for example, like when I started playing, I play EU and NA because I'm a degenerate. During NA, Gempire had just they took like a long break, so they weren't playing. There was nobody leading on NA. Like there's no pug leaders, and like I really felt that because I really like pugging. I like a discard environment, all that stuff. So I made a Slayer just to lead pugs. That's how I thought I was helping with the community. And now, like there's Mr. Brightside, my little Slayer. He does his thing. I think like a lot of people enjoy them. A lot of people on Destro don't. It's fine. They're my enemies, so they're not supposed to. But that's how okay. I need to create content for NA. That's how I do it. But like right now, Empire is back. Order is a little bit stronger doing NA. Sometimes we lose. Most of the time we win. So now I'm making a choppa so I can lead on Destro again. So that's it. My positive impact on half the game, which is NA order, is just it's gonna be gone most of the time because I'll be leading on the other side. So that's the thing with player engagement. It's temporary. If the devs could put something that's in the game, like a link to the wiki, a link to the YouTube channel, or, and most importantly, in my opinion, something to promote bug leaders, because we really need bug leaders, in my opinion, during NA. EU is fine. EU is like a great place, have all the big guys are
Yeah.
there, a bunch of bug leaders, but during NA, I think like devs could maybe come up with an idea to promote that somehow. Not
Well,
sure
I
how.
will just I would just toss in that I've had fun running in groups led by Gempire and Retribution over the last few months. It's I mean it is that I guess that's just the point I want to make, that when I've gotten into groups or war bands of either Retribution or Gempire, it's been a fun. It's always a blast,
Yeah,
and
the game's fun.
it
People are gonna keep
yeah.
playing.
Um, okay, I want to move on to a different topic, but let me check in. Toth Monder, do you have anything
No,
to add on this at the moment?
already said what I'm
Okay.
going to.
All right. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Toth Monra podcast, and I am just handling the moderator duties, so to speak, just to make things a little bit easier on the man himself, the legend Toth Monra. I appreciate everybody out there who's listening and engaging in the stream chat. I also thank again our two guests, Pinky and Mr. Mojo. And up next for the panel, uh, okay, actually we've already discussed that question, and we've discussed that question. You guys are on fire. Let's let me move down to the next. Move down to the next topic. Okay, here we go. This was one that Toth Monner actually talked to me a little bit about last night when he came into my streams, but that is the suggestion of having PvP areas open up in addition to the lake fights. In other words, some of the PvE zones and some of the PvE areas that are out there that sort of rarely get used, opened up into temporary or perhaps permanent PvP zones. And I suppose the one example I would give to kick it off is Isle of the Dead. When we talked about the live event, the Rings of Power live event, I was really happy to see that they utilized Isle of the Dead. That even if it was just PvE, you go there and you have to fight all the demons and get the kill counts. But I was still happy that they had done that, right? Because it's such an underutilized zone. And I think that zone would be kind of a cool PvP place to run around sometimes. So that's the basic question. Having some of the PvE areas open up into PvP zones with some sort of incentive to go there. Again, we'll go around the horn. What do you guys think? Mr. Mojo, we'll start with you.
I bounced that idea with thoughts before. I really enjoyed it, but I think it should be implemented in a way that it's gonna affect how the RVR meta is at the moment. So at the moment, like EU, when it's prime time, it's basically like blob warfare. I enjoyed it once I learned how it works. At first, I thought it was like I didn't really like it because it's just blobby and just getting flanked and dying all the time. But once I seen like the better leaders how they do it, so shout out to Evo, shout out to RoR, and then I learned how to organize myself in that situation, how that's supposed to be played. I enjoyed it. But it's the same meta for a very long time. So I think that opening up the PvE areas to I don't know how you're gonna do that. Maybe adding more flags, maybe adding something like you have to be taking control of these two zones so you can spawn a ram. Make something that's gonna split up the blob. That's it. Or make something that's gonna
That
change the
that
meta.
that's
So the game can stay fresh.
that's the idea to put it in a way you guys would understand. Basically, like Reekland, you have the two fortresses either side of the map that sit unused. They would only be active for PvP when the zone is active, meaning when that pairing is open. You could an idea that I discussed with with one of the devs about it. You could put it where the resources that go to the lakes would spawn in those areas, and you have to shuttle them to the basically shuttle them into the lake to supply the BOs that then drive progression of the zone to help split the blobs up. So instead of
It's
them
great.
just staying focused in the lakes, it would open up to having to split up groups and have people all over the map doing multiple things, all contributing to going after the keep instead of this mindset of okay, it's may start off with one warband versus one warband, but one side of the other blobs, which everybody hates. So put more emphasis on progression of the zone and give them a larger area to have to contend with, so they can't just bottleneck and blob up.
Yeah, I agree. Now that you break that down, Top, that really clears it up. Yeah, because the zone once I started playing, I actually because of that issue, I don't like to play during EU times because I think it's strategic but less strategic because it's just a big circle of stuff, and I love the smaller group warband strategy. So I think that the map is too small when that happens. So opening it up like that, because we can't forget about the game isn't solely based around warbands. You have this game is amazing because you have solo players like witch hunters and wees and stuff, and then you got your little 6 mans, and then you got your little 12 mans. Not everybody wants to be in a warband, so you can better utilize some of those other players. That's you know they're trying to get their contribution. Let's say if it's an EU player, he's not going to get no contribution like that. Because especially during those EU times, ain't nobody going to want no level 26 or something like that, or fresh level 16 in their warband, because they're going to be going against the megas. But that level 16 can go outside the zone and have some type of interaction and contribution to the RVR. He can level up his renown outside of the major lakes, and then you can have those major forces, those major war bands. Everybody's contributing to that cause without have to be stuck in that nonsense. And I think separating the blob brings more strategy back into it, because it gets boring real fast. So yeah, I think that opening up the zones and giving other objectives that's PvP base, yeah, because somebody can still gank you while you're trying to do that quest and do that thing, but it widens the zone up, and it makes it more the small skirmish fights more valuable, and makes it great memories and a good time. So yeah, I agree. I like that.
The idea behind it, if you look at the two fortresses, that small crews could fight and defend very easily, and it would be ideal for 6 man, 12 mans, even small 2-3 man teams be running supplies, so they could be contributed to the overall battle, even if they're not big enough to be in with the heavies fighting like full sovereign geared players. But at the same time, you've got the big boys that are hammering away at one another in the lakes. All this is going on, but to try to alleviate the blobbing and also the stress on the server, because when you get that many in one spot, it invariably lags.
I like it. I like the idea.
So that was the idea I pitched to the devs. The dev, I'm not going to mention name, liked the idea, and I said I would bring it up to community, let the community have their say on it, and then I would sit down and try to formulate something that I could present to the devs. So here's your opportunity, guys. I mean, they're open to adapting PvP, so please say your piece.
Well, I'm all for. Uh, I'm all for expansion in the context you guys have just been talking about it, particularly when you come to a zone like Calidor or Eatane.
Any of the
Some,
tier 2s and tier 3s.
yeah, I mean, you know,
Yeah, they're too small.
Calidor.
They're too small.
I
That's the problem.
I swear, man. Sometimes when I log into the game and I see everybody's fighting in Calidor, sometimes my first reaction is, okay, I'll go play Tiddlywinks and come back when they're finished there. But um, uh, so it's something like you guys are. It's something like you guys are talking about could be implemented. I agree with you. I think it would be uh, a good idea. Anyone else?
I think we should all listen to Tot, make some noise in the
Yeah.
forums or in the chat here, and no, get the devs moving. Or if you really hate the idea, make it heard so we can adapt.
Do something. I like it. I like it. I like it, especially on slow. No, I'm a late night pug leader, and sometimes it's really slow to really even get enough people to even like do war bands and stuff like that. But even on those small scale things, they can still get renown and contribution and stuff like that, because some people might not have the forces to even deal with a 12 or a 6 man that's out there, but out there doing those small tedious things can help when I guess when some of these other uh time zones wake up. Well, people in the late night did a lot of contribution. They can get busy off the just off of the effort and the contribution that they put forward too. And I think it's a great idea. Just keeps the action really moving.
Yeah.
It gives people a great incentive. They could keep
What
the ball rolling, as they say.
Allow me please to combine two of the subjects that we were talking about, because I never made this suggestion. I never advanced it to an actual suggestion. I talked about it a couple times on Realm Watch when we were still doing Realm Watch, and I also talked about it on my stream. But you take a zone like Shining Way, and I think Shining Way is a perfect example of, again, an area that is far too underutilized. Now, I'm not a coder. I've never been a computer coder, so I have to, put that caveat on it that I don't know how much work might be involved to actually have to do this. But I think Shining Way would be a great place to turn into an active scenario where
Mm.
it comes up on the list, Shining Way, and it already has the objectives there. There's a lot of room to maneuver. It could be like a 24-24, or at least an 18-18, right? Uh, Type of scenario that would, it just good grounds for it, right? And I guess again, I'm just asking if it what your opinion would be to take some of a zone like that, like a fortress that already exists, the ground already exists, and turning it into an active scenario from time to time.
I think it's good,
Yeah.
but yeah, because no, no, new content, more content is always better. But in my opinion, if your goal here is to split up the blob, you can't really make it just make the zone bigger because that's Land of the Dead, right? And that's still a blob fest. Like
Hmm.
it have to be something more. It have to be something like you have to be holding these two BOs at the same time in order to level the zone or spawn a ram or do something like that. Because then people are
Yeah,
gonna have two coordinating region. Gonna be like, oh, my warband and Zorbex's warband, they're gonna go in this BO. So Onzaker and Mijao, you're gonna go somewhere else. You're gonna do that at the same time because that's the only way you're gonna get a ram.
As
It's gonna be a little
as
bit more complex.
as that it still needs a lot of work, but the idea would be heavy on promoting keeping the fight fluid and moving, and you know and the other thing is, if you wanted to stop the late progression, you just simply go after supplies, interrupt them, or and keep at smashing the BOs. Put more emphasis on taking and holding the BOs. It needs work and tinkering, which is why I
Yeah.
wanted to hear people's thoughts, so I could, you know. Plus, the dev wanted to hear too. So I mean, they're open to suggestions. Here's your chance.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
Karasan, I like your idea. I like certain areas being an actual SC. I think we need maybe a couple more NPCs and SCs to make a instead of just having two factions just fight each other the whole time. Have two factions and then like just the enemy NPCs that we both have to fight through to to
Like like the Corn's Goblet of Blood, right?
yeah.
That event where Corn shows up in the Chaos Waste and stomps everybody into oblivion.
Yeah,
I think those things are great. I really do. I think those things are great. Yeah.
yeah. I think because it gives us something else. It's the third faction. The third faction to worry that we both got to worry about. And I
Yeah.
think that makes things a little bit more spontaneous, a little bit more random. Um, I think it's a cool toss up. I think that's a good idea.
Well, do
Both.
either of you? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to step on you, but I was going to ask. Do either of you recall? And Toth, and maybe if you recall, again, this was some years back, but the devs did an event, and I still have video of it on my YouTube channel, where it took place in Reichland. There was a sword master lord, and then there was a chaos, a chosen, again, lord, big giant guys, and they were rumbling through the zone. They were actually being controlled by somebody. Somebody were playing those. And the idea was all the chaos forces and the order forces would rally around the two guys and try to help kill the other, right? Try to help kill the other guy's, uh, the other guy's lord. It was, and then at the end of it, I remember that night. At the end of it, they wanted some images, so all of order and destruction lined up together in front of the South Keep in Reichland, so that people could take pictures and stuff. And that used to be fairly common. Events like that used to be fairly common on the server, and they are not as common anymore. And
Hold
I
up,
think that's a
hold up, ad break. Jump
oh,
in.
okay.
How many minutes this time, Talk?
Minute 30.
Minute 30. Yeah, yeah. That's a pretty good suggestion there.
And
Yes.
this I'm just gonna reminisce here for a moment. This doesn't really need to go out on, but I remember another night where the Everqueen just showed up. Somebody had an Everqueen model, and we were fighting in Eatane, doing a keep siege, and all of a sudden the big giant Everqueen just showed up, just
Mm.
standing around watching. That was really, that was really cool. And Norcali, if you remember, Norcali showed up in Empire once. Troll Country. He showed up in Troll Country once as Corn. I have video of that too, where Corn himself came wandering through. He didn't have any powers. He couldn't like fight people or interact. He just walked through. Walked through. That was. I thought that was great.
Those are dope ideas, man. Those are pretty. I think that's something that we talked about. How much time we got? We got left.
Uh, well,
Seconds on ad break.
no, we got about 25 minutes. We usually wrap up after 2 hours, so I wanted to
We're
give.
back live.
Okay, yeah, there we
Okay,
go.
I wanted before we usually we stop after 2 hours because people start to get ready to move on to other things. So I wanted to real quick announce again that this is the Toth Monra podcast that you're listening to live, and we do appreciate it. And I'm just acting as the moderator to try to help him out. And once again, we're joined by Mr. Mojo and Pinky. And Mr. Mojo, if I recall, you earlier in the podcast you said you had two subjects you wanted to bring up. We discussed. Did we get to the second one? Because if not, I'll let you bring that up right now.
Yeah, we didn't. I think it's gonna be a little bit controversial.
Okay,
Um,
please.
my opinion is it's still based around the balance changes. I think the devs should be more clear what they're gonna change. And there's two things that I think is mostly unbalanced in this game. Like first is like player based. So like we're gonna lose EU time, or one faction gonna lose EU time just based on the quality of the players that are playing at the moment. There's nothing devs can do about that. The other one is something I call like ease of execution. my opinion, I think Destro warbands are just easier to execute. So they have less moving parts, they have like lower cooldowns, and when lag starts getting effect, they, I know both sides get affected by lag, but it's still easier to execute Destro in those environments. And I think that's something that the devs should take a look at. I know that a lot of people like to think about, oh, Slayer is stronger than Choppa, I know Magus or Swords are stronger than Bright Wizards. But you can't really think about it like specific classes. You gotta think about the whole synergy of a warband. And I wanna hear the devs' opinion about that. I wanna hear like you guys' opinion about that, if you agree that Destro is just easier to play in general. And how can we address that? Just so we can keep like the meta moving. I don't think like it should be just reverse everything. I know that a lot of Destro players like to think about order bias and stuff like that because Slayers have Rampage, which is, in my opinion, a little bit overpowered, but it is what it is. And yeah, I want to hear more here. I want to hear from you guys and from the devs, hopefully.
Inky, you want to go first?
No, you go ahead first, cause yeah, you go ahead first. I'll go after you. I'm still thinking the process there. So go ahead.
In the general sense, I think there are some. When I think of balance changes, let me put this in context. When I think of balance changes, I think more along the lines of certain abilities. And I'm not trying to start a conversation riot either, but I think it just as an example, the way I sort of approach the topic is when you take an ability such as a disarm, I think the fact that certain classes such as a Sork or a Magus or a Bright Wizard has a disarm, and a class like a Sword Master does not. Okay, I see that as a glaring contradiction in terms. Or a Squig Herder with his rickety little bow has a disarm, but a Sword Master does not. That's how I tend to approach the topics. And you brought up Rampage. On the last top, I think it was the last time we did one of these, right?
Yeah.
Well, that Rampage was kind of discussed, and I guess I see the issue of Rampage and Get to the Choppa as one of those issues that could be talked about forever and would probably never reach a conclusion that everybody would be happy with, right? And
The solution, I think, it's best is just to keep things changing, because we see the effects of what those skills or the most important skills have. Like Destro don't really like to siege because Rampage makes Order a lot stronger in funnels, and Order really usually gets their butt kicked outside of the lakes because Destro warbands works better in like open environments. Like if you have space to move around and you have a lot of gap closers and have get you the chopper and have AoE knockdowns and have AoE slows and the snare from Doc, you can just rush their healers and kill them. But if Order is in a tight funnel, you just rampage them out, rampage, yeah, just rampage and eat everybody. So that's just the meta. But if the devs just gave us clear communication and addressed that and like made changes eventually, like I don't know, now that they have more control over the skills, I hope there's gonna be like maybe somewhat constant changes just so we get the meta flowing so the game doesn't become stale, you know?
what?
And one of the things the meta should be addressed is based on ease of executions, because if you have two warbands that are equally geared and equally skilled, the easier to execute warbands will win most of the time.
Well, help me out here, and it sounds like, it sounds like you. Obviously, I think you have more knowledge than I do on how this would work. So let me phrase the question as best I can. When I listened to what Max had to say yesterday about the individual changes to individual classes, it seemed like the common thread through all of that was based on the original coding that Mythic did, that a lot of what Return of Reckoning has done over the years could be referred to as just sort of hacking the code to make things work differently. And what they're trying to do now is clean all that up and make everything a bit more permanent, I suppose, or run a bit more smoothly. Um, I mean, is that a good way to phrase it? Because again,
No.
I don't.
I know what he's I know what he's saying. If you not to cut you off.
No, go
Um,
ahead. Go ahead.
what he's saying is that what is basically the ease of operation for execution. For instance, for us to really, being in retribution and playing a slayer and a tank and whatnot, just what is needed to be successful in engagement is we have to really everything is based off timing from an order standpoint. But from a destro standpoint, like you run in, get a down, not I mean AoE knockdown, and then just go to town. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah,
usually that's just it's so quick, it's so real quick just to do that now based on timing and lag. You add timing and lag into that, just like he's saying, just the easier to execute, things like that. Um, can cause a complete devastating wipe when it comes to others that have to really take more time to really develop what they need to really to engage. Like we can't really, you can't pop, rampage or whatever right off the break. So you're gonna have to build up time to really even get that engagement really going. And I think that's if that what you're talking about a little bit, Mojo.
yeah, exactly. Like, no order warband is all about timings, and you have to explain to everybody beforehand. It's like, oh, I'm the Slayer, I'm MA, so when I say Rampage, you, the Swordmaster, you're gonna do something, you, the Bright Wizard, you're gonna do something, you, the Rune Priest, you're gonna do something. When I say channels, everybody got a channel at the same time, and each different class has a different spell to be cast. On a Death Warband, all you do is call targets. So just run at people and, oh, I got this guy, let's kill this guy, my target is a Rune Priest, my target is Archmage. That's it. Like, you just pop your things, have lower cooldowns, just run at them. Just easier to execute. So two equally skilled warbands, the easier to execute warband will win most of the time. So I want the devs to take that in consideration and bring back to what you point out. Yes, all those justifications that the devs gave for the balance changes are just based around technical issues. Is it because they want to reverse a hack, or an example for the white lions? Oh, they want to remove white lions M2 because they don't have like an animation. It's hard to see. It's just a technical issue. Like, are you even considering the impact on the meta about that? And if you are,
I
can you change
noticed that. Yeah.
performance? Like, really, like you're gonna
The
change
pet,
M2 because you can see it really well? I mean, it's a valid point. It should be changed because of it, but you also have to consider the gameplay impact a lot more, in my opinion.
Yesterday when I was listening and talking about it on my stream, that was one of the points I brought up. That I thought it a bit odd that they were going to take out an entire M2 ability based on the fact that they didn't have a proper animation for it. I That was one of the points that I kind of thought was, that was it seemed like kind of a lame idea
Yeah,
or justification, right? Kind of a lame justification to take out an entire ability. I mean, again, as an example, now this may be relevant, it may not, but uh, the unicorn that I got in one of the recent live events that I'm using as a mount, when I hit the mount, there is no animation. My character just stands there until the unicorn appears. I don't care, you know, right? I don't care that there's no animation for it. I'm just using the unicorn, and it would seem to be the same thing on the white lion on a simplistic level that I'm sort of articulating this. That it would be the same thing for the white lion M2. If you use the M2 and the ability works, if the ability works the way it's supposed to, what do you care what it looks like, right? What's the That's how I kind of saw that.
yeah, I agree with that.
I I agree with that as well, especially if we're talking about animations and stuff like that. A lot of people, because of the state of the game and its bugginess, have to run on low animation. I've been running on low animation for a while, and I got a decent PC. but I run on low animation, so I don't even see all those effects and anything like that majority of the time anyway. So, it really is like my thing is with these patches, just going along with that, talk I I'm not gonna say nothing about the devs. I think when you don't understand what they got to go through, or what's being done, or this is done the third, you can't really have a say so or try to talk harshly about anybody, about anything, especially when they're doing something for free. Um,
Oh yeah.
but I want to, but I think that people know the issues and the things that the community wants, especially when it comes. If you're going to talk about the white line, right? If you're going to say, before you say anything else about the white line, there should be something spoken about the issue with the white line's pet that
Yeah.
everybody knows
Just thinking
before
that.
you know what I'm saying, before you talk about taking morale 2 and then the AoE, all this other stuff that true, white lion players, ain't worried about right now. The fact that the white lion, the pet, has is underpowered, or the issue that's at hand is not spoken about. That should have been priority of making a change when it has to do with a class, especially when you know that the community has been dealing with this issue the whole time. And then you take something away from them. It's like, well, what about, like, it's a broken class, and I'm not talking about broken as in good. I'm talking about broken as in bad. It's you can't even play it the way that it's supposed to be played. And then go into talking about taking something away from it. It's like, it's kind of hard. It's like what it's like. It's almost like what do y'all like? Do you care? What are y'all looking at, or something, like, especially without, like I say, foresight. When you don't have no foresight of telling people, like, okay, we're going to take this away, but what our vision for White Lion is to be this, and we're going to work on, like, meeting us halfway. We know that y'all, like, we know that this issue exists, and we're taking this away and we're doing this, but ultimately we're moving towards this, and this is what the white line is going to be. It kind of like falls short. So that's the way I feel about it when it has to do with the white line, and these changes and some of these other changes and stuff when it comes to those patch notes.
Yeah, I think
Well, that was
that's
uh,
priorities, and the information they want to give out to us could change a little bit. I'm not gonna say like get worse or get better, and I'm in no way like bashing the devs at all. I understand like they're doing this for free. It must be a lot of work, and but I really do appreciate them. Just trying to give them positive feedback. But we, the community, felt, or at least the three of us, because we are all agreeing on this, how they could change their communication a little bit, be a little bit
yeah.
more informative.
Yeah.
There's an issue brought up in the on the Twitch chat. I want to throw out to the floor here to uh, for anonymous. Says, as a solo player, I care about how the animations look. Uh, I understand that when it comes to using an ability like a taunt or some other interrupt, a lot of times that is keyed off of what you see the other, the animation that is in effect that of your target, or whoever it is that's targeting you. So I get that point. Seeing what ability they did and now being able to counter it is faster than having to go through their buff bar or my debuff bar to see what happened. Okay, I understand what he's saying. Um,
I
and
agree.
I
yeah,
agree
and
with
in
you.
essence, I agree. But I suppose, like like both of you have been talking about, uh, to take an ability away from someone simply based on animation issues, I think is the wrong track.
Yeah,
That's just my opinion.
that's my point as well. I think
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
animation should be considered. They should change it, something based if the animation sucks or somewhere it's not there. But it can't be the only reason. Give us more information.
Yeah. Yeah. I do. And coming from my play style, before I even had the add-ons and stuff, I would memorize the just to respond to the chat. I would memorize animations and I would know when to, like from playing a tank, I would know when to taunt, healers or certain characters or interrupt them based on their animation. So yes, animation is important, but just it's I think it's what you could say there's levels of importance when it comes to how drastic a change, a better explanation, just like what what Mojo is saying is just, the explanation for it isn't enough. It doesn't make
Yeah.
sense, it just doesn't add up,
Yeah. Okay. All right. What I'd like to do, please, is if if none of you have another point that you want to bring up in the time we have left, I have a vanity issue I would like to address.
Sure.
But given that it is a vanity issue, um, I will give you the floor first if there's another point you want to bring up. So Toth, do you have something you want to put in right now, or
No, no.
okay, Mojo?
No, I said my piece.
Okay, Pinky?
Yeah, I think if we can, I don't know what they're going to do with these SCQs, but SCs are extremely detrimental to the game, and especially when it comes to development. Um, I think there needs to be, and I'm not trying to make a game like another game, but I think a great idea that SWOTOR, Star Wars: The Old Republic, did is that when you queued, you can actually queue PVE queue. You can actually choose the class that you're queuing as. And this is just going towards the idea of the player development, because um, when you queue, you should I think choosing whether you're a DPS or a tank or a healer, and then basically having these SCs probably be in a 2-2-2 format. And I think forcing a 2-2-2 format for pug queuing will help the development of learn teaching these new players or players in general, um, how to play in a party to help their development to play. So, for instance, if it's going to be dudes that's still going to queue in a pre-made and whatnot, and it's going to be inevitable. But at the very least, a pub group will have a fighting chance against a pre-made, and the pre-made can make its pre-made. It don't have to be 2-2-2. It could be whatever way that they wanted their pre-made to be. But when they go up against a group, that other group can have a fighting chance having two tanks, two healers, two DPS, just off the basis, and then they can take that, learn how to guard swap and do whatever, and have a better fighting chance. And a better fighting chance will give us a better experience, and which will lead to more people to queue in SCs. Um, at level 40, it is like leveling up. I loved all the SCs. I love leveling up during SCs, but 40 SCs and even some event SCs, man, I hate them unless I start doing them with my guild mates. But you know, if I don't, I can't even just randomly, just on the fly, just queue, because you're gonna get just nonsense. It's just bad. And then I'm blessed to be a part of a great guild that just has a lot of good active players and in Discord. But what about the player that doesn't have Discord, or that want to play, that want to do SCs and stuff like that? Um, there needs to be something in place to motivate. Like, I'm motivated to be in Discord with my guild. But at first I wasn't. I didn't care less about talking to people. But because I have one, and because of the people I was playing with, I wanted to get better. But that started from just playing with them. So I just want to know what y'all think about that, or
Well, let,
something to boost that up a little bit.
let me be sure I understood your uh, original point. Are you saying sort of like an Overwatch system? In other words, if I as a player, if I have a rank 40 Sword Master, a rank 40 White Lion, a rank 40 Archmage, and a Shadow Warrior, right? Those are the four prime characters I have at the moment. And I queue for an SC, say on my Sword Master, but the SC really needs a healer, then then it would automatically queue me in on my Archmage instead of the Sword Master. Is that what you meant, or
No,
did
no,
I
no.
meant?
What I'm saying is that it like if you're already on your sword master, then whatever you queue on is going to have priority. Like it's not going to choose like make you log a whole nother character. But I think what the other game did is like look, it gave incentives for healers. Like,
Oh,
oh,
okay. I
you know what I'm
got you. All
saying?
right. Okay.
So it will let people know,
Yeah.
hey, we have a lot of
Okay.
DPS that's queuing, but you'll get a bonus in renown or something because we're lacking in healers. And then the person queue healer, and then it will be a complete SC group. And I think
Right.
a better
Okay.
complete SC group would be better, and for a better experience and for better development. Does that make
Yeah, that's
sense?
pretty good.
Yeah. I got you now. Yeah. Yeah. Um. And in essence, I agree. I mean, it's um.
And I think
I
it
love
brings out
scenario play, but go ahead.
I think it brings out another issue that we talked about a little bit. There are a lot of things in this game that you can fix if you have a guild, if you're social, if like if you make a pre-maze, or all your scenarios going to be great. But no, there are things that devs could do. I don't know if it works. Again, I'm not a coder as well. I don't code. I don't know if that's even possible. But if something like what Pink is suggesting could be implemented, that would be great. Like there has to be some things that devs can do to fix that and fix other issues that are fixed by players at the moment. That's
But
pretty
when
good.
it comes to the, I do want to make one comment here, just for general purposes. And when it comes to the devs, to Max and Liam and Echelon, all the people who are actively involved, um, I perfectly understand and have ever since I've been here that these guys are doing you know volunteer work on their own dime, and I've always respected that. I think the overwhelming vast majority of people who play on the server understand and respect that. But I also think that sometimes disagreement, in other words, that if one of us as a player, if one of us as a player has an issue with something that has been implemented and we voice our opposition, that is sometimes interpreted as opposition or a negative sort of articulation against a particular dev when it isn't. It's just, we're voicing our opinion on what we think should happen. And I don't, the simple fact that I disagree with something someone says doesn't mean I hate that person, right? It just means I disagree with that particular point. And I get the feeling, and I could be wrong. I mean, but I get the feeling sometimes that the people who run the server sort of have a default position that, okay, so and so opened his mouth and disagreed with something we said. Uh, Therefore, he's attacking us personally. And now, like I said, I could be wrong about that. But that's just the sense I have sometimes. So, if either of you have, or if any of you have a comment on that, please.
I'm too new to the game to know about the intricacies of the politics of the game. I don't know who hates anybody. I don't know who likes people. I'm new here,
Well,
and
that's my
yeah,
point. I don't hate anybody. I just, I just think that the idea that we as players can articulate our thoughts um, with the common understanding that everybody understands that's what we're doing, right? We're just articulating our thoughts.
I think
Not
that's that. My bad. That's I think that's a common thing of that's an individual issue, and I think that's just a pursuit of just taking the time to care about or to take the time to understand under other individuals and where they're coming from. Understanding is very important, and it causes you to be a little bit more empathetic about what somebody else is going through, and self sacrifices and stuff like that. So I agree with you. It's okay to say you don't agree or you don't like because it's based off of your perspective and your experience as well. So but you know everybody's different, and I think it's a personal lifestyle thing that may come from. But I think it's just if all we all just think of this as a family, as a community, and just take the time just to appreciate. I think just appreciation will kind of quell that a little bit. But I'm with Mojo. Like I don't care about stuff like that. I don't I don't be paying attention to stuff like that at all. Like that, it's not on my radar. So,
well,
but
Toth Monra is the eternal champion when it comes to trying to promote harmony
of course,
in on the server. He's been he's been strong on that ever since he's been here, and that's one of the reasons I brought it up, is because I know that's important to him. That aspect of the community base is important to him. That people have the ability to A, become involved, B, voice their opinion, but C, most importantly, everybody just get along and do what's good for the server. That's kind of his thing, and I wanted to, especially given current circumstances, I wanted to get that out there. And so, Toth, do you have a final comment on any of this?
No, no, other than what I've always said. I try to encourage the community to share their thoughts, because at the end of every podcast, I condense this down and send it to the devs so they listen to everything you guys say.
All right then. Um, Once again, this has been the Toth Monra podcast, and I have just been playing the role of the moderator today to help things go a little bit more smoothly for the man himself. And Toth, I want to say thank you to you for having me come on and help out. Mojo and Pinky, you guys have been awesome. And Pinky, I don't know if you saw it. I don't know if you saw it earlier, but somebody put into the Twitch chat that your voice was that's the all American voice. So I don't,
awesome.
Everybody loves speaking voice.
yeah. Um, and I agree, man. You've got what you'd have a good radio voice, right? But but thanks to each of you guys for coming in too, and note that I appreciate it, and I hope you'll come back, because another thing that Toth Monner has promoted about his podcast ever since he started it is that it is like an open mic night. If somebody wants to come in and talk, you're welcome to come in and talk. All you got to do is let him know ahead of time and um, maintain civility, and that's it. So anybody
Yeah,
out there wants to come in next time, just let us know.
yeah,
Uh,
it's been great. I think it's a very nice discussion. Thanks for having me. As a closing thoughts to the devs, because I'm like I thought they're gonna send this to the devs. Uh, bring out the ready players on the server. There are a lot of them that really know how the intricacies of the game work, and bring their opinions. I know that you have a test survey, you already have those. They are advising you and stuff. But bring them to the discussion and make balance changes around that, not around just what the forum says. Because people get pissed off about pools and stuff, but they don't really matter in the grand scheme of things, in my opinion. Like, it has to be more about synergies and how they impact the whole warband, or impact scenarios, or impact rank 66s. Yeah, that's it. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome, man.
My
Take care. Go ahead, Pink.
man, I just wanna just say just thanks to Toph as always for just being just giving us a platform to really be able to discuss these things. And I love Toph in the way that he does things because he just he puts his foot on the pedal and he put his his money where his mouth is. So much appreciated to you, Toph, and for the opportunity. This right here is an example of how it should be done. And as I said, like this is a family. So I'm gonna do a couple shout outs. You know, shout out to all the guild leaders that's out there. Um, shout out to all the pug guys, Hauser, Chimp, SVG, um, Rogue Run, Cinnabar out there. Everybody that's out there that supports them, Iron Ball, Holy out there, everybody, and even the guys, Bernhardt, that lunatic that's out there, on Destro's side, Evil, everybody that's in the community that's just taking the time to just bring life into the game and into RVR. We, both sides, even though I play order side, we much appreciate all the contribution that your time and your dedication and just putting yourselves out there for the rest of the realm and for the rest of the community, getting things going. Shout out to all you guys and some of those that I probably missed. I'm still learning names, so just much appreciate to all of you and everybody, even the devs as well. So yeah, keep doing
Well
what you're
said.
doing.
Well said. All right. Thank you, guys. And with that, I will turn this all back over to Toth Monra. Toth, thanks again. And we all hope to see you again next week, or our 2 weeks, whenever you want to do it, man.
Alright.
So
Appreciate
thanks
you
for
guys
having me.
being in here. I'm gonna have a copy of this posted later on my YouTube, and then I'll put it in the RoR Discord so people that missed it can watch it, add their thoughts to it. And again, thank you everybody for tuning in. I am gonna go ahead and raid out because I need a little down time.
All right, man. Take care. Thank you. Thanks again.
Take care.
Appreciate it.
So give me just a second here, Chad. I already got a raid target picked out. I do want to try and get you over to somebody that's a big into Warhammer content. As I said, I try to raid outside the community to help advertise the server. So let's go pay a visit. No worries, Carson. Guys, make sure you go smash the follow button and check out Karis's channel. But let's go pay a visit to the Great Book of Grudges.